So when I was small, I was very fond of reading. A lot of reading I did. And reading what I mean is I read a lot of stories. And then my dad played a very, very important role. He always looked up towards teachers. According to him, it was not just a noble profession, it was something which was very respectable. He always, because he knew that I am going to do something. And then you're right, no, we did not have any teacher in our family. The moment I finished my education, it was that I just glided into this profession. And day in and day out, I have always loved it. Whether I was in a full-time job or once I just quit that thing and moved on to being a visiting faculty, day in and day out, I have loved. Until today, it's been more than 20 years and nothing could have been better than taking up teaching as a profession. Right. And people did suffer a lot because of COVID. Yeah. At the same time, we have seen lot many good things also happening during COVID. Lot many things. See, work from home kind of thing happened and it became a blessing for many people. Women who had small children who would have otherwise left their jobs and all that, they could continue with their job. It all comes under soft skills. Anything under the sky. Okay. Anything under the sky is soft skills because your personality gets assessed even before you open your mouth. Yeah. So we leave the speaking skills aside. Exactly. Okay. There is something called as verbal and non-verbal. There is something called as body language. And so there, one very important aspect is body language. Right. And body language is something which is, you are sitting for a meeting of this kind, an interview of this kind, or a meeting, or you go for an interview, or you are there in the wedding.
Good evening, Jaspreet. Welcome to our channel, Live Zindagi, and welcome to this podcast series, which we call Journeys and Voices. So it's our honor to have you here. So we would like to know what has been your journey throughout your life. Okay, starting from the academics of yours. I see, Jaspreet, that you had a very outstanding academic background, right? So you have excelled in whatever you did in your school and college. You have already completed your bachelor's and master's in English. So what was so inspiring that you chose teaching as a career? Because seeing your background, educational background, you could have become a eminent engineer. You could have become a established doctor or a scientist or whatever. Like, it was such a inspiring educational background that you could have excelled in whatever field you have chosen. So why this noble profession? Why I call it noble? Because we are nurturing the next generation who is going to take this world and our country ahead in times. Okay, so what was the inspiration? Was there someone in your family who was like, you are coming from a family of teachers? Or was there an incident which made you think that, okay, I will become a teacher, I will educate? Or was there an individual who inspired you? Okay, same like he or she may be out of your family. Okay, maybe an outsider, maybe a teacher, or maybe a person whom we have role models in our life. So what was the reason that you chose education?
Okay, first of all, thank you so much, Sameer, for having me over here today. And it is an absolute pleasure and a delight for me to be over here. It's an honor for me. So thank you very much. And you've spoken a lot, big words. I don't know whether I deserve that or not. But anyways, thank you so much for that. So now answering your question that why did I choose this profession? So one answer you've already given, it's a noble profession. But definitely nobody chooses teaching because it is a noble profession. We say it is noble, but then who is there to take up the noble cause? Not everybody is willing. And probably even I did not take it up because it's a noble profession. It happened. So when I was small, I was very fond of reading. A lot of reading I did. And reading, when I did, when what I mean is I read a lot of stories, a lot of novels, and each story had a moral. Every story, every novel had a moral behind that. So somewhere at the back of my mind that, it was grooming me, grilling me. And then my dad played a very, very important role. He always looked up towards teachers. According to him, it was not just a noble profession, it was something which was very respectable. He always, because he knew that I am going to do something. And then you're right, we did not have any teacher in our family. Rather, there was nobody who was into a job.
Mhm.
It was a purely business family, absolute business family.
Okay.
But then he looked forward towards it that, if at all I want to do something, teaching is a very respectable thing and something where you keep on grooming yourself day in and day out. Not that you've got the job and that is the end of it and whatever. So and when he had that faith and belief all through when I was growing, and at the same time I was reading, and yes, being an elder sibling in a joint family of lot many cousins and all that. So I had that knack, I used to read, I used to transfer it back to the children, bringing up the moral value and all that. So that, I think I was born to be a teacher. That knack was always there. The way to explain and to create some kind of aura that, okay, then what happened? Then this happened. You know what he did? You know what, whether it was, a small thirsty crow kind of a story. So he was so very thirsty. What do you think he did? So then giving live example that if you are thirsty, you should go to the kitchen and take water, not tell your mom all the time to give you. So I used to incorporate it at that time also. So all, the things together were probably preparing me towards this profession, and it happened seamlessly. The moment I finished my education, it was that I just glided into this profession, and day in and day out, I have always loved it. Whether I was it in a full-time job, or once I just quit that thing and moved on to being a visiting faculty, day in and day out, I have loved. And till today, it's been more than 20 years, and nothing could have been better than taking up teaching as a profession.
That's so amazing, Jaspreet. And it's like when the little girls or little children were playing with the toys and the Barbies, you were nurturing yourself to become a teacher. Okay, like you said that you had that story in mind and you were inculcating that in your character as well as your daily routine. So that's exceptional. So as you rightly said, you were destined to become a teacher, and hats off to your dad, because business families, mostly people will go. There would be exceptional cases when they go in for the jobs or self professional kind of a thing. Okay, but the next thing which I would be very curious to know, why English? Okay, because I have seen you did your bachelor's, you did your master's in English, and basically you are associated with a lot of institutes who are in teaching English. You are a certified IELTS trainer also. So why English? Why not some other subject?
Okay. So, why English? As I said, I was always reading stories and novels and whatnot. And the other languages that I did at that time were Hindi and Punjabi, along with English. And I was always inclined towards languages,
Okay.
all three languages. But then the way, I kept on progressing in my school, and, the choice of subjects in 10th, in 11th, after 10th and all that. So somewhere something, the way it happened that, English came into my kitty, that I took it up in 11th, in say, I had English core as well, I had English elective as well. So English elective was purely literature.
Okay.
And that obviously led me on towards, because the more you go into the depth of something, or probably we can say Hindi and Punjabi, we had everything in around us. The
Right.
culture was there
Right.
taking shape, and we were into it in the school as well. But when I took up English literature in 11th and 12th, so it just, led me on towards English literature in my graduation, because we kept on going back eras. So
Okay.
starting from 14th century and all that, when actually things started happening,
Right.
the way poetry was written and all that. So it's, I think certain things, it's the way we say flow of water.
Right.
If you let it flow, it flows on its own. It takes its own direction wherever, the wind takes it. So I think the wind was taking me towards English. I won't say that I chose it for a reason. I would say it chose me for a reason.
Okay.
So because I took up this language, I was teaching English, and that is why I think the other feathers started getting added to me.
Okay. Okay. So I saw that you are a certified soft skill trainer also. Okay. And you know that how important are the soft skills today. I have seen that employers, they mention categorically in their the job postings that they require people with good etiquettes, good communication skills. And good communication skills are not only limited to speaking or talking in English. It's basically understanding the other person also. So it is the listening, it is basically hearing, okay, going into the deep insights when you are listening to someone. So what made you think that you should opt for a certification in soft skills trainings?
Okay. Now, you must have heard that every time there is something, bad happening, we've heard our elders say, anything bad happens, it happens for a reason, isn't it? It's how you look at the situation. So, if you say soft skills, so if I have been an English teacher, you understand one thing, that again, English, when you are teaching, or any language, when you are teaching, you're grooming children on skills, which are soft skills. Why? Because when you are telling them a story, you are giving them a moral. You're giving them a moral, you're refining them for lifetime, right? So this was, I think it was a package deal of being an English teacher. And then the way I told you, I was in my childhood also, it was happening. Not that I would say I was doing it. It used to happen like that. Like I had a flair of connecting this with that and imparting it as a value to the children around me. So when I became a teacher, there also, now this is one thing, when I became a teacher, it was not because I chose it as a profession, I chose it as a passion.
Right.
I had this passion, it happened. So due to that, my very first batch that happened, you won't believe I'm connected with those children today also.
Okay. Great.
Way back, if I'm saying 20 plus years have passed, so those children are connected with me today also, and all the ones that have happened in between. So why? Because that human connect, that heart to heart connect happened. So
Right.
how does that happen? How did it happen? Because you go beyond the book, go beyond the textbook. So when you go beyond the textbook, it's not that you are telling the child to do rote learning just to memorize. You are making the child understand why this value is important.
Okay.
you
Right.
know you want to impart a value to the child. So what is that value? It is actually soft skills. So I was already doing it all this while. Now when I said something bad happened, so COVID was a very bad phase all across the world, we all know that,
Right.
and people did suffer a lot because of COVID.
Yeah.
At the same time, we have seen lot many good things also happening during COVID.
Right.
Lot many things, see, work from home kind of thing happened, and it became a blessing for many people.
Right.
Women who had small children, who would have otherwise left their jobs and all that, they could continue with their job, and they did very well, and today also it is thriving. And you won't say that it's wrong. I hope others also agree with it when I say that work from home has actually enabled companies to save a lot on the expenses also,
Yeah.
the time factor also.
Absolutely.
So that is there. So how did that time help me? That was the time everything came online. And that gave me a chance to, I was exploring, I wanted to upskill myself.
Right.
And that was the time I'd started getting invites from certain colleges for a few sessions on interview skills, resume writing, and all that. So I started exploring that if I'm getting a kind of invite for conducting a session, okay, I've done that.
Right.
I did groom myself, connected with right kind of people, and did that. But what about upskilling myself? So that on papers also I have, and I actually get the right information and get connected to the right kind of network so that every time we are there for each other in the time of need. So that is where this thing came up in front of me. The
Okay.
soft skills, the personality development, and it has opened a wide new world for me. And it was as if I was always destined to do that because it was just an extension to what I was doing as an English teacher. And when you're talking about soft skills, you already said that. So now today, if somebody asks me, what all comes under soft skills?
Right.
Okay, what all? You said learning and listening and speaking and sitting and standing.
Yeah.
If you ask me what all comes under soft skills, anything under the sky.
Okay.
Anything under the sky is soft skills because your personality gets assessed even before you open your mouth.
Yeah.
So we leave the speaking skills aside.
Exactly.
Okay, there is something called as verbal and non-verbal. There is something called as body language. And body language, for example, when we are preparing children for interviews.
Right.
So what I tell them is, when you enter the building, these days everything is under camera. So if they want to observe you, they'll not observe your conduct within the room where the interview is happening. They'll observe how you are talking to the guard while entering the gate.
Right. Yeah.
Because how you treat the guard is not what the guard is. It is what you are.
You are. Right.
Understand the other human being in that situation. The other human being, if you remove him from there, who will do that job?
Yeah.
So everybody is important. Everybody has his own self-respect, which needs to be given. So personality does not mean I need to work on my personality. Personality means how I look at the other person. One glance at the other person, and whatever I may keep on saying over here, the moment I glance at the other person, people are smart enough to assess.
Right.
So whether it is body language, whether it is facial expressions, whether it is sitting and standing, opening the door, closing, whatever you are doing,
Yeah.
or writing a resume,
Right.
that also has to be done according to what your personality is.
Right.
So that is what soft skills are. And they are something which I think because when these days we have online interviews as well.
Right.
So virtual interview etiquette is also there. Interview etiquettes are there, but we also have virtual interview etiquettes. So
Exactly.
there is nothing that gets spared out of this, the community called as personality or soft
Right,
skills.
right, right. So it is very, very enriching to understand what exactly soft skills, because soft skills, if a person who doesn't have gone into the detail, what you have mentioned, right? And why, what I see is you had made a very valid point, Jaspreet. What I see in your character, I think that thoroughness, that going into the details has come through all those years when you were you remember you were telling me about this story of thirsty crow. Okay, so I think you
Yes.
have built that, and you have basically because I have seen people having curiosity in science, right? But I don't think that I have seen a person who will bring that much curiosity even in English, even a language. Okay, and the moment, as you said that going into the details and understanding what other person's job is, right? And how to communicate, how to behave, how to have those skills in you. I think that will come only once you are thorough about your subject. Okay, it's very, very enriching for us to also know, and our viewers also. They would also be amazed that it's not that you just communicate in English and that is your communication skills as well as soft skills. So whatever you mentioned, like anything beneath the sky is all covered into that. So thanks for sharing those insights with us. Jaspreet, one more question which is coming to my mind. So gradually you have, I would not say that you have shifted, but you have just added one more feather into your cap by going into this soft skill training. So you are a certified soft skill trainer, right? How do you think that this training is different from teaching English as a subject? Okay. Is there a difference in approach of a teacher while imparting this kind of education or a training? So what is in the mind of the teacher once this education program is taken up?
Okay. So what happens is, in India, education is all exam oriented.
Yeah,
So once you are inside the classroom, whether you are teaching English or any other subject, it's like CBSE, the marks that matter.
right,
Okay, so that is whatever you may do at the end of the day, the exams have to be taken into consideration as the first and the foremost thing.
right,
But when we are talking about soft skills and personality, so one is English, it is restricted to the academic thing
right,
till the time schools are there or you take up IELTS or whatever. So again, that is to clear the exam.
right,
But when we talk about soft skills, when we talk about personality, so that is beyond academics. That enables you to do certain things.
right,
That because there's a lot of competition in the market. People have a lot of degrees in their hands. You must have seen and heard people say that this person did not have that much percentage as compared to the others. Still, he got the job
yeah,
because the people sitting on across the table, they are looking for something extra.
right,
They are seeing whether he is adaptable or not, whether he'll be good for team building or not. So that is where soft skills and personality comes up.
right,
So when we go as a teacher, you are training them to take the exam. You're telling them how to write, what to learn, what not to learn, what to give importance to, how to begin, how to end the answer. But when you go as a soft skills expert,
right,
so you are talking about those nuances which they are there around us, but we've never noticed.
right,
There are people, even grown-up people, they don't know, they don't realize that if you're entering a room, the door is open, please leave it open. You're entering, the door is shut, please shut it and come.
yeah,
Such a basic. So there are so many more things like that, how you sit, how to, or for example, you're sitting for a dinner, how do you need to pick up things or to pass things, dining etiquette.
right,
So, as I said, anything can, because we as an individual perform different roles. And for every role, there is a set of personality development tips, those soft skills, the way people are going. You must have seen, you go for a wedding, everybody is doing the same thing, but there is this one person who catches your attention, whether for a positive reason or for a negative reason.
right,
So that happens everywhere in the workforce, work front also it happens. So that is how this is different from, because here you are trying to polish, refine your personality, and there is no end to it.
right, right.
There's no end to it. As much you do, it's basically going on evolving yourself.
Yeah. So
You
it basically,
understand the need
yeah, sorry.
and then you do it.
Yeah. So it's basically involving your habits, your discipline, as well as the empathy thing in yourself. So how to be
Exactly.
empathetic towards others, right? So that is
Exactly.
very essential for any kind of a human being, right? So rightly put across by you. So Jaspreet, since you mentioned the COVID times, okay, you said that it was a blessing in disguise for many people, and yes, of course, you mentioned that corporates also had, because before that only few multinational companies in India had that work from home culture,
Exactly.
but after the pandemic hit us, okay, there were a lot of companies who were in, even after 4 or 5 years now, companies are moving back to the office working, okay, and essentially, yes, many people think that once you are a professional, okay, virtual meetings or virtual working can basically help you in your work. But unless and until you meet people face to face, you interact with them, okay, that physical interaction is there. Okay, till that time, I think that was missing during the COVID times. Uh, Jasprit, I saw many uh, teachers who were struggling to use technology at that particular moment, okay, because only few schools, few reputed schools had those uh, gadgets in their systems wherein they were conducting these online classes, online meetings and all, okay. During COVID, most of the schools, they went online, right? So what was that, how did you cope? Did you face any issue while starting with it, or you were well versed with all this technology? And the next question related to this would be that in this highly changing world of education, right? The techniques are changing, the people are changing, teachers have different degrees these days. The children have more exposure to internet, social media, okay? They are more exposed to the outer world as compared to what we were in the late 80s and the starting 90s. So how do you keep yourself updated, And what do you do to basically get those skills needed for your job profile?
Okay. So the first thing first, that the schools turned online.
Yeah,
And yes, there were many schools, rather majority of schools and teachers, they faced a problem with technology. A lot of hitches were happening.
right.
And that was because nobody was prepared for it, right? It was thrown upon us all of a sudden.
Yeah,
March, the lockdown happened. April, the session had to start. So situation was such that it is thrown upon you and you have to do it some way or the other.
right.
So yes, problems happened. But then speed breakers do come in our life. Doesn't mean that I'll park my car on the side and stand because there's a speed breaker.
Yeah,
I'll slow down the speed and maybe change the gears and give the race accordingly and then slowly, steadily, and then I'll pick up speed.
right,
Isn't it? So
right.
that is what happened. And if I said it's blessing in disguise, why did I say that? Today there was pollution last week, till last week.
Yeah,
Children were at home, schools were happening.
right,
So this is something which has started and it is here to stay. Not a good thing, but then at least we could stop that pollution from happening because schools were happening online.
right.
So any reason happens, we have such rainfalls happening in Delhi these days. So
Yeah,
that time also schools go online.
right,
So with these weather patterns changing, that's a different thing altogether to be discussed that it is good or bad. But taking into account the safety and security of children and the situation of the roads outside. So it's
right,
all one sector is inside and doing the work online.
right.
And the others can also do it like that,
Yeah,
corporates, whatever. So that is one thing. Now everybody faced challenges, even I faced them, and not that I was totally aware of how to go online. I had never taken an online class. We were always offline kind of people. In India it was not there. E-learning and all was, maybe even if it was there, just a fraction, a very small fraction was doing it, and still children were not able to take it and grasp it that much. So even I had to update myself and understand the nuances. And being a teacher, like in every team, whether you are in corporate or wherever, or say I am a teacher, so everywhere there is this one or two people who are really very aware and very ahead of times,
yeah,
so they are there to guide you. So
right.
if you are there in your office, maybe some new joinee or some intern is, sir, wait, I'll tell you, this is how it can happen.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we also have students of that kind. Ma'am, you do it like this. Ma'am, you do it like that. And the best thing that happened was there were a lot many ups and downs happening in the online meetings
right.
taking place in school, somebody barging in, that mob kind of thing happening, that somebody is putting something in the chat.
Yeah.
So when they used to tell me that, I used to be watchful of that beforehand.
Hmm.
So never did that happen. Even if once or twice it happened, I was able to take care of that. So just the beginning, how to go about it, how to start it was the issue. After that, things went wonderfully. Rather, I got the feedback from parents that at least in your subject, because otherwise you will believe when I say that children, they were left with no writing practice and nothing because they
Right.
were sitting, nobody was bothered. So I set certain rules and regulations that when the meeting is happening, I'm not going to teach the tiles, the black tiles.
Yeah.
Camera has to be on. Because if the camera is not on, you'll go into the waiting room.
Right.
So
Right.
they knew it. And by chance, due to some reason, if some child was sitting with the camera off in my class, probably some maybe unwell or something. So the parent used to ask me, ma'am, were you taking the class because the camera was off? Because in your class, camera remains on.
Right.
So it's not that you have to be, a person with a stick in your hand and all that, nothing like that. You need to make them understand the feel,
Right.
the need for that thing. And once, I follow one particular thing in my life, whether it was my children or my students, either convince me or get convinced.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I used to make them understand that you are sitting like this, how much learning is happening. So I used to make them do grammar, writing right in front of me. 10 minutes, do this exercise, click and send it to me.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
that ways things were happening fine. And it is a blessing in disguise because it has opened new vistas for us. Now we have recorded lectures. So in case the child is, different children have different exams at various points in the year. So you can simply upload and the child can see the class that the see it again. The child is unwell, the child is going somewhere, the class doesn't get missed. It's there recorded, the child can see. So isn't it a benefit?
Yeah.
And similarly, if you have to travel, you tell the children, okay, this week I'm not available, I'm going out for work, but then the classes will be uploaded so the child is able to see. And then when I'm there, the doubts are happening. So probably this is something which has enabled me to do so many things at the same time.
Right.
Otherwise, if you have to be physically present all the
Yeah.
time, or
Yeah.
for that matter, Samir, if this interview had to happen offline today,
Yeah.
I don't think it would have been, we would
So
have been able to materialize it.
yeah, because basically being in Delhi, I think we would have
That's
wasted
what.
2 hours in traveling also. Okay,
Exactly. And
that's
then
it.
apart from that,
Yeah.
you were busy today, I was busy today. So
Yeah.
right now, at least at our own comfort zone, we've logged in and we are there.
Yeah.
So it's like, conducting a meeting with a huge group of people may not be very fruitful.
Right.
But these kind of things, technology has helped us. This was not there earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, actually, we can say that at the press of a button, we can do this.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have
And
been like
supposing the
IT
the weather
professional.
is bad or something, for example, a day like today, if I had to take a session with my children, so I told them, okay, fine, somebody has to go somewhere, ma'am, this person is coming, okay, fine, I don't want you to miss the class. Let's get connected in the morning. So better is don't come for the class. Let's meet on Zoom.
Yeah.
And the class, and they're sitting with the cameras on, they're asking, they're answering. So they are there very much.
Right.
So it's how you utilize things, because see, you have to be on your toes at your end as well.
Right.
It can't happen that if I want others to be alert and aware and doing something, so I am distracted away just because they are sitting over there. No.
Yeah.
So you have to be a few steps ahead, and even in the teams that are happening in corporates,
Hmm.
if somebody is conducting the meeting, he has to be a few steps ahead of the other people,
Right.
the rest of the people in the team, isn't it?
Right.
So it's a way we look at things. If I feel this is positive, I'll see the positive aspects.
Yeah.
If I have to crib, then we can start cribbing about online also.
Yeah.
We can start cribbing about technology, isn't it?
Right.
So
Right.
it all depends how we look at something, what we want to pick and choose for ourselves.
Basically, how to adapt to the change. Okay. How to adapt to the change.
Adapting, and your mindset also according to that. If
Right.
we start cribbing that technology is wrong, internet is wrong, can we survive without internet today? I totally understand giving it in the hands of children is wrong, but if we talk about it, if we are not able to limit and control ourselves, internet is not bad.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is my weakness which is bad,
Right. Right. So
isn't it? So why
I
crib
was,
about something else? Because
yeah. So
we
I
have
was,
always grown up hearing this thing that every coin has two sides.
hmm.
So why do we want to see the negative side? Let's hold on to the positive side.
Right. Right. Yeah, you have made a very valid point. I was just listening to this business strategist, Simon Sinek. So I am a great fan of him. So he was mentioning that alcohol is not bad. Okay, too much alcohol is bad, right? So basically, he was mentioning many other habits, smoking and all other things. Smoking, he didn't, I think, mention, but he mentioned many habits. So he said that social media and internet is not bad, but too much of it is bad. Okay, so once you decide, once you
See,
know,
excess of everything is bad, isn't it? Excess of everything is bad,
yeah,
whatever it may be. So
right,
we have to limit and control things according to. Now we are sitting for the meeting. If throughout the day we are sitting, even that is bad.
yeah, right,
If we just move on to online, even that is bad. So excess of everything is bad. There has to be a balance. And nature shows what perfect balance there is in nature. We have disturbed that balance. We've seen these disturbances happening around.
right, right,
So balance is the key to everything basically.
yeah,
And rather than playing the blame game with habits or with this thing or that thing, I feel at the end of the day we need to introspect ourselves.
right, right.
If we do that, everything, because I'll tell you one thing, when we do these sessions related to conflict management,
Hmm.
which we generally call as conflict to collaboration. So there is this one thing which I tell, want to say that, he did not do this, he should do this, he should learn this, he should change, he should blah, 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 blah. बहुत सारी चीजें we can say.
Right,
We fail to understand that no two people are alike, isn't it? For that matter, even twins are not the same,
right,
isn't it? Even twins are not the same. They also have difference of opinion. They
Right.
also have different habit patterns, different likes and dislikes. So if you understand this thing, whether it is a husband-wife relationship, whether it is a friend-to-friend relationship, whether it is a colleague kind of relationship, or myself, teacher and student, understand that there is somebody who has different needs.
Right.
I have something different. Identify that. Once you identified that, so you'll be prepared with that and you'll deal with the other person in accordance to that.
Right.
That is where collaboration happens.
Right.
Whether I, with my helping staff, I know this is their limitation. If I keep on cribbing, it won't help.
Yeah.
It won't help the situation. So whether even if it's my husband,
Right.
okay. So if I say you don't do this, you don't do that, and so on and so forth, men are made, they are constituted in a different way. Females are different. Isn't it? You also must have experienced it. You tell them, okay, bring this thing from the drawer, from the this cabinet. He's looking, and you go, it was not over there. It was in the drawer. Khol ke to dekh lete. But then that is the difference between a male and a female. So when we know it, why to crib about that?
Yeah.
So once you understand that, that is where गाड़ी पटरी पे तभी चलनी शुरू होती है, when you understand this. And this is true in every relationship. Even when we are walking on the road where there are strangers. If you feel कि मैं क्यों देखूं, सामने वाला देखेगा ना, मैं bump करूं तो करूं. But then if you bump, तो then you fight with the other person.
Yeah.
या फिर वो फोन में देखते हुए आ रहा है, आप साइड हो जाओ.
Right.
That's the simplest example that we can take.
Right.
Isn't it?
It's a valid point, and Jaspreet, it was giving me a glimpse that why you are not just an English teacher. Okay, what made you? Because all these details, okay, are going to feature in one's mind only once he or she starts understanding those aspects. Okay, so very rightly said, as you mentioned, that our education system, right? It is basically grade oriented, right? So whoever is getting good grades is basically considered studious and things like that. And it has been continuing since all our school days, right? But gradually, as the things are changing, people are now going in for the skills. Okay, people are trying to understand what is beneficial for the organization. Like, let's say, the employers, even they are focusing on the communication skills or the soft skills, as you say, and as well as their capabilities to function in their company. Then only they decide. They are also not dependent on the marks or the grades. Okay. Now, Jaspreet, I saw that you are a certified trainer on POSH as well as POCSO, right? So these terms might be new to many of our viewers. Okay, though I understand a bit because in corporates there is a lot of focus on implementing the POSH policy within. Okay, and even I have seen schools who are now taking care of this protection of children against the sexual
Sexual
offenses.
offenses.
Okay, so we call it POSCO,
POCSO.
POCSO. Okay, so can you just share your insights on these two topics? Okay, just in brief, because I know these are very vast topics to be covered in one single journal session, right? So we can obviously have a different session on this, but if you can brief our viewers, so I would also be curious to know how this and why your inclination towards studying it and then basically getting certified, and now since you are involved in training.
All right. So first of all, my interest in it got developed once I did this personality thing, the soft skills thing.
Okay.
So there, one very important aspect is body language.
Right.
And body language is something which is, you are sitting for a meeting of this kind, an interview of this kind, or a meeting, or you go for an interview, or you are there in the wedding. Body language changes.
Right.
Different arenas, different way you conduct yourself, right? And the wrong body language is which is taken care of by POSH. Because the more we were going into body, this is good, this is bad, this is because cross culture and this and that, at times we don't even realize, because you will agree to it when we say that there is a lot of diversity happening at workplaces now.
Right.
And we are talking a lot about diversity and inclusion. Okay, now when we talk about diversity and inclusion, then gender sensitization comes into picture.
Yeah.
Now, when gender sensitization happens, after that, next step is POSH. So when you're talking about body language, so it automatically takes you on to POSH. So when I started little bit researching about that, it was very interesting. Interesting as in something which needed attention, something which needed to be taken up in the right way. And as you yourself said, we were discussing it just before this, that the companies are becoming POSH compliant and all that. It is mandatory.
Yeah.
Okay, the organized sector, the unorganized sector, everywhere POSH is required because that is the need of the hour. We have the females stepping out, and not all workplaces are such. We have cases coming up every now and then, you know that.
Right.
And it's a landslide of cases that is happening nowadays,
Right.
isn't it? But apart from these cases, do you think these are the only things that are happening? There must be so much
Yeah.
apart from this which doesn't come into light.
Right.
And why do we talk about such horrendous crimes? Any small little thing, POSH says you look at somebody in the wrong manner, even that is wrong.
Yeah.
Somebody you are making somebody, you don't have the right to do that.
Yeah.
So there are a lot many things which come under POSH. So basically, making women give that kind of security, that kind of comfort level that when they are there, so the others should know that these are the rights.
Right.
The woman, the aggrieved woman can make a complaint against the person, whosoever he might.
Okay.
So that is where POSH comes into picture. So once I did the POSH certification, then came a POCSO because I've always been dealing with students.
Yeah.
So that is where now this was the next thing, that if I've done POSH, I should go ahead with POCSO also. So
Okay.
it's basically knowing more, understanding more. We were already, as I was always doing this literature thing with students, a lot of moral values I was already imparting. But now you become technically aware
Right.
what to do and how to do and what to say and what not to say. You explain it to children, you tell parents. At least you can take sessions with parents, because today, a normal person like you and I, people of our kind, they'll feel, okay, the world that we are living in is such a safe and secure world. Everybody is an educated person.
Okay.
But, but the most, no, I would say, uh, the fact that makes us leave shell shocked is that POCSO cases, majority of them are coming from the circle that is known to us,
Okay.
from within the family, from probably the people next to the family, close to the family, which we never realize. So the need is that the parents have to understand their children. There has to be an open flow of communication with the children,
Right.
which is very important. So all these things happened, and that is how, I came into this particular thing as well.
Jaspreet, I would like to know whether this curriculum is or the awareness program is basically connected to the parents also. Are they involved in the training? Or
Or
is it,
POCSO.
yeah, POCSO.
So POCSO happens in three different ways.
Okay.
When we conduct trainings for POCSO, it can be for parents. It's
Okay.
very important for parents also to understand this.
Okay.
It can be for schools.
Right.
So when I say schools, then teachers, because they are meeting children every day in the classroom.
Yeah.
It can be for the management, what all is required at the managerial level.
Okay.
Okay, according to, because it's very important for the school to go according to the norms, the rules that have been set for them.
Okay.
And then it can be for children. Children, wherein you have children, the small kids,
Right.
the pre-primary, the primary, and most importantly, pre-primary and primary, still we talk about good touch, bad touch, this and that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Problem happens when the child comes to class 5 or 6.
Right.
Loaded with curriculum. That is where the changes are actually happening. That is where the child is getting curious to know about things around himself, but there is nobody to talk, because by that time it becomes a taboo topic. Neither can the child ask anything, or while telling also, the first feeling that a child gets is the feeling of guilt if something has happened.
Right.
Somebody has done something wrong. Somebody has maybe, initiated a wrong step towards the child, because it happens very gradually.
Right.
Somebody was showing something on the phone or something. The child feels troubled, wants to discuss. The
Right.
first feeling is guilt. My parents will say, you must have done something, so he's shown
Ah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
That
That's it.
confidence has to be there in the child that anything goes wrong, they are my go-to person.
Right. Right.
So 6 to 8 is one category, 5th to 8 we can say. Then ninth and 10th is another category.
Okay.
11th and 12th is another category. Now I'll just give you a glimpse about that.
Okay.
When we say 11th and 12th, it's very, very common that children have infatuation happening
Yeah.
in schools, isn't it? At
Yeah.
that age, it's very common.
Right.
Now, there are some children who carry it a bit far.
Right.
Okay. So there is this boy of class 12th and a girl of class 11th. Fine, they're going along with each other and all that. And probably something happens.
Yeah.
Fine. The parents come to know, the parents of the girl come to know. And probably, I don't know how they reach the lawyer. And the lawyer says that the boy who was a minor earlier, today he has crossed 18 when you've come to know this particular thing. Your girl is a minor. It becomes a punishable offense now.
Okay.
It comes under POCSO for the girl.
Right.
And if you go through the cases that are happening, POCSO is, it doesn't leave anyone, top to bottom. It can pull you down like anything. I won't take names over here. There have been movies coming up. Recently, there's a movie come up. If you watch that, there's nothing, nobody. If it is proved that the child is a minor and you've done something, then you're gone. You may be anybody.
Jaspreet,
So
is
that is why it's very important for children also to understand.
no. So is it mandatory for the schools to implement this, or what is the status on implementation within India, let's say?
See, it's like the trainings should keep on happening.
Okay.
Okay. But I think it's not happening the way it should happen.
Okay.
All right. The aggression with which it should happen, the way, what happens is you may tell the teacher so and so that, okay, you today you talk about this thing, or
Okay.
you may do the tick mark of the checklist. Okay, we have done this, we have done this, whether it is POCSO, whether it is POSH.
Right.
So that will not improve the situation. The situation will be improved when you bring the right kind of person who has the passion for it, who
Yeah.
has the knowledge for it.
Okay.
And that person, when he or she talks to the teachers or the children, basically you need to make them feel the importance of the thing.
Yeah.
We have not gone into detail, but I can see your face changing expressions when I'm talking, just giving you, the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
This is not a POSH or POCSO session. So can you imagine if it would have been a POSH or POCSO session? You would have been like, what have I done? Kya pooch liya maine?
Yeah. Definitely.
That is how, not that we have to discuss cases. We do discuss case studies to make people understand कि ये ऐसे हुआ था तो ये उसका था. ये
Right.
हुआ था तो this is how it happened.
Right.
So that is required. Things are happening, but don't want to discuss it over here right now. The
Yeah.
way it should happen, not everybody is doing it in the right way.
Okay. 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 Valid point. Valid point, Jaspreet. So we'll get more information through one of our other sessions, which we would be dedicating it to POSH and POCSO,
POCSO.
right? Jaspreet, you have been associated with Toastmasters also as a Vice President Education. So it's a very reputed and a big designation. Okay. So what I understand about Toastmasters, and our viewers, many of us may be aware about this, that they are into nurturing people on the communication as well as the leadership skills. Okay. Might be they are into some other things also. So can you just briefly tell us your association with Toastmasters, what exactly you are doing over there and what they are doing as an organization?
Okay. So Toastmasters is an international kind of setup. All right, already 100 years old, and we have Toastmaster clubs all across the world.
Okay.
So I also am part of a Toastmasters club, and as you rightly said, I have been serving the term as Vice President Education over there. So
Okay.
people join Toastmasters for improving communication, for learning public speaking, enhancing all that. Now, why I joined, I don't know. I liked it. I researched a bit, and I felt I should be there. Even though it's not that I wanted to learn public speaking, but I wanted to be there into it to see how it all happens.
Okay.
And then what I did over there was that uh, it gives you the liberty. You are a part of one club, but it's not that you can just attend the meetings of that club. You can go anywhere in the world and attend. So
Okay.
this is again post-COVID, things have gone online.
Okay.
So this gave me the liberty to attend meetings of clubs happening anywhere in India and anywhere abroad. So I am a regular visitor, very well connected with people across the world as well. And that improves your network. You get to see people. Now, for example, I got connected with a club in Ukraine,
Right.
and to meet them, to be in the meetings, and to understand how war has affected them.
Okay.
And apart from that, the club is trying to maintain the meetings and everything, the standard of the meeting. So there are many other countries which I've been visiting. So it gives you a personal connect with humans. And I am one person who loves connecting with other human beings.
Yeah.
So that is how it has helped me. But otherwise, it's a wonderful public speaking platform,
Okay.
and some very good individuals, wonderful souls who are there as part of it. We do take up burning issues, talk about it, as you were also there once when I invited you for
Yeah.
that hot issue where the debate happened.
Right.
And so we discuss things. So not just public speaking, when you're speaking at a public forum, at a public platform, you do research about it also. So
Yeah.
it does increase your knowledge as well.
Okay.
It does refine you as a person, because again, this is something which you are doing just purely out of passion. So you do adapt to the rules, the regulations, the people, the needs of the other people. So it's basically getting connected with people and doing something which pleases your soul and probably improves your speaking skills, which are, and there are people who are at very wonderful positions in their companies, but they are getting connected over there because they want to sharpen their skills of learning the language.
Oh, great to know that, Jaspreet. And as you mentioned, I would also be like to be part of that program. Okay, very soon I would be joining, and let's
Great to know that. Great to
and
know that.
of course, like it's a very enriching session, Jaspreet. Like I'm just unfolding things every now and then. So viewers would be saying that what kind of a guest today we have, such a versatile experience, expertise. Okay, from English teacher to soft skill training, and then from there to and serving a very high position in Toastmasters also. It will also. So you are wearing lot of caps, Jaspreet. Okay. And as human beings, I think we have only 24 hours. So you are a mother, you are a wife, you are a working professional with so much big portfolio. How do you handle this in your life? Like we talk about work-life balance, and you are even training people on work-life balance. How do you maintain that in your personal life?
Okay. So, as I told you, it's all there in our mind how we look at things. You start finding negatives, everything is negative. You start finding positives, things are positive. It's how you fine tune yourself, isn't it? So, first thing is, I may be doing lot many things. At times I forget. Like yesterday, you were asking me about something, and I told you, thanks for reminding me. I had forgotten that.
Right.
So the way the time and the way the thing comes in front of me, I take it. But then, there is passion behind for all these things, the way they are happening. It's not that somebody's sitting with a stick on my head that do it, do. No.
Yeah.
I'm doing it because nobody is wanting me to do it.
Right.
So I like doing it. I like connecting with people, hence I do it. And yes, it for people in general when they have to do lot many things or multitask and all that. And I think these days everybody is multitasking. And one example I give people is somebody told me at some point of time that if you ask these days, if you ask a school child,
Right.
"Beta, what are you doing?" And the child says, "I'm studying in this and this class."
Hmm.
So the answer given is, "वो तो सभी कर रहे हैं, what else are you doing?"
Right.
Because children are doing a lot, तो फिर हम क्यों ना करें?
Right. Right.
Isn't it? So that is one thing. And see, when you are doing a lot, work pressure does happen.
Yeah.
And that too, it's not a 9 to 5 kind of a job. So
Right.
the pressure may happen, some emergency situation may arise at 12 o'clock in the night as well.
Right.
So that is not that somebody tells me you have to do it, so I'll do it. It happens on its own. That is one thing. And the other thing is, one should have his or her positive strokes. Certain things that make you unwind, certain things that make you feel rejuvenated and relaxed.
Yeah.
So it could be a simple dinner with a family also.
Yeah.
That everybody gets together and you go and you forget everything and you have a dinner, you go for a trip, and these are just very basic, simple examples.
Right.
These positive strokes may be different for different people. It could be anything. So we need to have time for that as well. If that is there, then I think life is right on track. There's no dearth of time. 24 hours are a lot. बहुत होते हैं 24 hours, कम नहीं होते हैं.
Rightly said, Jaspreet. As people mention that if you take your work as passion, okay, if you make your work as passion, or you make your passion as your work, okay,
Yes,
then you don't feel tired. Then you, but yes, obviously, as you mentioned, family time is required, trips are required, traveling helps you unwind, right?
exactly.
Okay, and having that me time is also essential. People are spending time on their physical health also, okay,
Yeah.
joining programs and all. So it's good to know, Jaspreet, about your routine. Now, while following you on social media, okay, I saw some pictures of yours where you were with group of your female associates, maybe they were your friends, and you were on a car rally kind of a thing. So what was that? Because I was very curious to know that. So
Okay.
what exactly you do in that?
So that was a car rally that was organized by Times Group.
Okay.
So JK Tires and everybody is there behind that, and they have a proper department that takes care of it. So this is an annual thing that happens.
Okay.
So this is something which was always, I don't know why, but then as I said, that my dad played a very important role in our growing up pattern.
Right.
And when we were small, there used to be this vintage car rally that he used to take us for.
Exactly. Exactly.
As a rule, he used to take us for that. And it was we used to stand there and watch the cars passing by.
Right.
And somewhere it got stuck in my head that at some point of time in my life, I want to go for a car rally. And then came up this Times group with an all women car rally.
Okay.
So that is what you are
Yeah,
talking about,
yeah. They're all women car.
car rally.
Yeah, you reminded me. Yeah.
So one year we went to Agra,
Okay.
driving from here to Agra, staying over there for the night and then coming back. So the car rally is the going part. After that, coming back is yours. So there you have marshals all across at different points. You have to collect the points because the time, distance, speed, everything has to be taken care of.
Okay.
And they don't take you from the main highway. They make you do off-roading also.
Okay.
Because they give you the route. And it's like a hidden treasure hunt that you have to find out कि यहाँ से कहाँ जाना है and all that. And there are times when you're passing through villages early in the morning and people are looking ये कौन सी गाड़ियां एकदम से निकलनी शुरू हो गई हैं.
Right.
So
Right.
that is one thing. So last year we went to Jaipur
Okay.
and this year it's about to go to Chandigarh now. So that
Great.
is again, so that is one of my positive strokes. I would say something which I love doing.
Yeah.
And when it is something that I love doing, then I do it.
Okay. Okay.
Then I do it. Then I don't think this is to be done. Time है कि नहीं है. But the way you have to squeeze out time for work, you
Right.
need to squeeze out time for such things as well.
Right, right. Great to know that, Jaspreet. So my curiosity also is solved now. Okay, so that's good. So just before we conclude, so I have a question for you. Okay, I've seen that you have been having a very versatile experience and expertise in various subjects related to trainings and teaching, right? What do you think that of course our government might be doing a lot of things to enhance our education system. So what do you think, one or two points which you can also highlight to our viewers that can be changed as per you or that can be enhanced in our education system?
Okay, so as we discussed, education system was on rote learning, academics, and all that. So now the government has started with this soft skills things being introduced into the curriculum. The soft skills would be a part of the curriculum of schools now. So, which is a very good kind of a thing that has a new introduction that is happening, which is good. And the only thing is, when schools do it, they should do it with full fervor. It shouldn't happen just as a checklist being fulfilled.
Exactly.
Otherwise, the entire effort goes futile. There are a lot many things happening, changes coming up. We need to understand the importance of the change and how we have to go about with that in the right manner so that the benefit happens at the level of the children.
Okay.
Otherwise, the entire machinery goes for a toss.
Great, great. Any message before we conclude, Jaspreet, for our viewers, for me? Any advice how the life should be taken up? Okay.
So, one is I'm not a big shot to give advice to people,
Okay. No, you are
but
already. Our viewers have
no,
watched
no,
and
no,
you're a
no,
big shot. Okay. So that is
no,
your
no.
humility. That's a humbleness of yours. So please
The
continue.
only thing is, rather than finding faults with things around, system around,
Right.
let's look into ourselves. If all of us start looking into ourselves, world would be a better place to live.
Right.
And rather than saying, this to be done, that to be done, बहुत कुछ है करने के लिए, तो किसके लिए करना है? अपने लिए ही तो करना है.
Yeah.
Isn't it? If supposing I'm not able to like something, then leave it, move ahead. But if I'm doing something and I'm cribbing, so I am just maybe bringing it down for myself. उसका वो benefit ही नहीं होगा.
Right.
Isn't it? So have that positivity within yourself. It's very easy to have negativity. But
Right.
if you start looking at things with a positive mindset, the world will appear to be a very beautiful place.
Yeah.
People will appear to be very good ones. Otherwise, it doesn't take time to say, आजकल का तो टाइम ही खराब है, आजकल के तो
Yeah.
लोग ही खराब है. But
Right.
नहीं, the world is still full of very good people. You give positivity out, whatever aura you will create is what you are going to get.
Exactly. Exactly.
So let's work on ourselves.
Right.
That is what right personality grooming actually is. If I will conduct, if I'm talking to somebody in a very crude manner, he will reply back in the same way. So
Yeah.
whatever I give is what I'm going to get back. So at the end of the day, let's delve deep into ourselves and see what was done good and what can be better than this.
Exactly. Jaspreet, thanks a lot for sharing your insights on various aspects of life as well as our education. Okay. To summarize, Jaspreet, it has been a very enriching, very fantastic session with you. Okay. Keeping the right attitude, okay, passion for your work, whatever you're doing, okay, stay with a positive attitude and looking for more opportunities. And as you say that positive people, they will always look for opportunities as
Yes.
and the negative people will always look up to the problems only. They will crib, okay. And the kind of work profile which you are following in your busy schedule, okay, it's a very inspiring thing for me as well as many other people who are viewing this particular session. And in all, you are a complete human being in yourself, and that's our motive behind setting up this channel and podcast series, that we learn from people like you, okay, who to us you look like our friends, our family, right? But once you start hearing the stories, right, so then you feel that what kind of a strength the person is holding, what kind of positive attitude, what all positive things we also need to make changes in our own behavior, character, and follow that discipline and keep on learning. That's more important. So even if you become a 70-year-old, though you have a lot of experience,
Yes.
but don't stop learning. You have to learn. And of course, follow your passions, follow your hobbies. And thank you very much, Jaspreet, for sharing this insights with us, your journey, your professional journey, as well as your whatever you are doing apart from that for the society. Thank you very much. And it was a very good, uh, fantastic, enriching session for all of us. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Jaspreet.
Thank you very much for having me, Sameer. Even I liked it thoroughly. The entire session, the way you were putting up questions, it was really very. My entire life was going back and forth in front of my eyes since the time of my childhood. So thank you very much for doing that for me. Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Thanks a lot, Jaspreet.